In this lecture, we try to understand the capital budgeting, what are the importance of the capital budgeting, and what are the techniques for taking the decision on the capital budgeting. When we talk about the capital budgeting that the related to the decision taken on the long-term assets. Then you can check the capital budgeting is the process of evaluating and selecting long-term investments that are consistent with the firm goal of maximizing owner wealth. Our capital expenditure is an outlay of funds by the firm that is expected to produce benefit over a period of time greater than 1 year. An operating expenditure is an outlay of funds by the firm resulting in benefit received within 1 year. Then capital budgeting, that the outcome is uncertain because the outcome which we receive in the future date and the future is uncertain. We can estimate only it. Then large amount of money are usually involved because that is a long-term decision. It involves the huge amount of money. Then decision may be difficult or impossible to reverse. It is very difficult to reverse the long-term decision. Then the investment involve a long-term commitment. Capital budgeting, that is analysis of alternative long-term investment and deciding which assets to acquire or sell. The objective of this lecture was the definition of capital budgeting, then the objective of capital budgeting, then process of capital budgeting, then capital budgeting technique, payback period method, example of payback period method, net present value method, example of net present value method, accounting rate of return, and example of accounting rate of return, and last the question for practice. Capital budgeting is the process of evaluating investments and huge expenditure in order to obtain the best return on investment. An organization is often faced with the challenge of selecting between two project investment or buy versus replace decision. Ideally, an organization would like to invest in all profitable projects, but due to the limitation on the availability of capital, an organization has to choose between different projects and investment. Significance of capital budgeting. The success and failure of MES mainly depend how the available resources are being utilized. Main tool of financial management. All type of capital budgeting decisions are exposed to risk and uncertainty. They are irreversible in nature. Capital rationing gives sufficient scope for the financial manager to evaluate different proposals, and only viable projects must be taken up for investment. Capital budgeting offers effective control on cost of capital expenditure project. It helps the management to avoid over-investment and under-investment. Now, what do you understand by capital budgeting? We know capital budgeting decision that is related to the long-term decision. Here, the decision on the capital expenditure, and that decision that is we have to the planning and the control the long-term assets decision. In simple word, when we talk about the capital budgeting decision, that is we know that are the irreversible, and it is basically related to accept and reject of a project, whether we have to accept or reject. According to that, we have to take the decision. Then it is related to long-term assets. When we talk about the long-term assets, that is the crucial for an organization, because you have to decide which long-term assets they have to acquire and what are the benefit which they provide. And then we talk about that is the decision related to the expansion, the diversification, the modernization, and the replacement. And these all the four type of decision basically come under the capital budgeting decision. And at the end, then we have to find out what are the future cash inflow and the outflow. Then according to that, we have to take the decision, and that all related to the long term decision. Objective of capital budgeting. The first, selecting profitable project. An organization comes across various profitable projects frequently, but due to the capital restriction, an organization need to select the right mix of profitable projects that will increase its shareholder wealth. Second, capital expenditure control. Selecting the most profitable investment is the main objective of capital budgeting. However, controlling capital cost is also an important objective. Forecasting capital expenditure requirement and budgeting for it, and ensuring no investment opportunity are lost in the crux of budgeting. The third, finding the right source for fund. Determining the quantum of fund and the source of procurement them is another important objective of capital budgeting. Finding the balance between the cost of borrowing and return of investment is an important goal of capital budgeting. Then capital budgeting process. Then we can check the first, identify investment opportunity, then evaluate of all investment proposals, then the third, choosing the most profitable investment, the fourth, the capital budgeting and apportionment, and the last, the performance review. Then we find out the each of one separately. The first, identify investment opportunity. Under this, an organization need to first identify an investment opportunity. An investment opportunity can be anything from a new business line to product expansion to purchasing a new assets. For example, a company find two new products that they can add to their project line. Then the second, evaluating investment proposal. Once an investment opportunity has been recognized, an organization needs to evaluate its option for investment. That is to say, once it is decided that new product should be added to the product line, the next step would be deciding on how to acquire these products. These might be multiple way of acquiring them. Some of these products could be manufactured in-house, manufactured by outsourcing, manufacturing the process, or purchased from market. Then choosing a profitable investment. Once the investment opportunity are identified and all the proposals are evaluated, in organization need to decide the most profitable investment and select it. While selecting a particular project, an organization may have to use the technique of capital rationing to rank the project as per return and select the best option available. In our example, the company here has to decide what is the more profitable for them, manufacturing or purchasing one or both of the product, scrapping the idea of acquiring both. The fourth, the capital budgeting and apportionment. After the project is selecting, an organization need to fund its project. To fund the project, it need to identify the source of fund and allocate it accordingly. The source of these funds could be reserve, investment, loan, or any other available channel. The performance review. The last step in the process of capital budgeting is reviewing an investment. Initially, the organization has selected a particular investment for a predicted return. So now they will compare the investment expected performance to the actual performance. In our example, when the screening for the most profitable investment happen, an expected return would have been worked out. Once the investment is made, the product are released in the market, the profit earned from its sales should be compared to the set expected return. This will help in the performance review. Capital budgeting technique. There are the various capital budgeting technique which we can bifurcate in the traditional technique and the modern technique. But due to the time limitation and due to the slide, I cover only these three methods. That is the payback period method first, second the net present value method, and the third the accounting rate of return. In the second lecture, I will cover all the other methods. Then we can check when we talk about the payback period method. In this technique, the entity calculate the time period required to earn the initial investment of the project or investment. The project or investment with the shortest duration is opt for. Second, the net present value. The net present value is calculated by taking the difference between the present value of the cash inflow and the present value of cash outflow over a period of time. The investment with a positive NPV will be considered. In case there are multiple projects, the project with a higher NPV is more likely to be selected. The third, accounting rate of return. In this technique, the total net income of an investment divided by the initial or the average investment to drive at the most profitable investment. Here we discuss the payback period method. The payback period is the time required to recover the initial cost of an investment. It is the number of years it would take to get back the initial investment made for a project. Therefore, as a technique of capital budgeting, the payback period will be used to compare projects and drive the number of years it takes to get back the initial investment. The project with the least number of years usually is selected. Then here we have taken the illustration. Here we have given the Apple Limited has two project options. The initial investment both the project is rupee 10 lakh. Then the project has even inflow of rupee 1 lakh every year, and the project B has uneven cash flow as follow. In year 1, the cash inflow that is rupee 2 lakh. In the year 2, that is cash inflow of rupee 3 lakh. The year 3, the cash inflow that is rupee 4 lakh, and year 4, the cash inflow that is rupee 1 lakh. The formula for computing payback period with even cash flow is the payback period is equal to total outflow divided by inflow every year, or the initial investment net annual cash. Then we try to find out the payback period for project 1 which have even cash inflow. If we use the formula initial investment divided by net annual cash flow, then the cash outflow that is rupee 10 lakh divided by the net annual cash inflow that is rupee 1 lakh, then 10 lakh divided by 1 lakh, then we can find out the payback period. It will take the 10 years to generate the initial investment. Now we go to the second project. We making tables because the project we also have the cash outflow or initial investment of rupee 10 lakh. Then here we have taken the three column. In column number 1 we have taken the years 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the total flow in lakh. Then the year 0 there is initial investment required that is rupee 10 lakh. Then we have taken the cash that is the cash outflow, that we have taken the negative value under the bracket negative 10. Then the year 1 it will generate the rupee 2 lakh. In year 2 it will generate the rupee 3 lakh. In year 3 it will generate rupee 7 lakh, and year 4 it will generate the rupee 1.5 lakh. Now we find out the cumulative flow in the column number 3. Then minus 10 plus 2 it become minus 8, minus 8 plus 3 it become minus 5. Then minus 5 plus 7 it become plus 2, plus 2 plus the 1.5, and then it becomes the 3.5. How to find out the payback period which we have given in the project P? And then we have to follow the certain steps. There are the 3 steps, and this step 1 we must pick the year in which the outflow has become positive. In other words, the year with the last negative outflow has to be selected. So in this case it will be the year 2. The step 2, divide the total cumulative flow in the years in which the cash flow become positive by the total flow of consecutive years. So that there is a 5 divided by 7, it becomes 0.71. This step 3, and now step 1 plus step 3. We have to add the above 2 steps in this step 3. The payback period that is 2.71. Then you can check in this step 1 there is a 2, and the step 2 that is the 0.71. Then 2 plus 0.7 it becomes the 2.71. Then it requires the 2.71 year to generate the initial investment. Therefore, when we compare these two project A and B, then we select the project B because it takes the less number of years, and that is the payback period as per the project P, that is 2.71 year, while the payback period as per the project A, that is the 10 years. And there is one of the limitations of this method. This method does not take into account the time value of money and treat all follow as par. Now here we discuss net present value method. Net present value, the abbreviation we can call it the NPV, is the difference between the present value of cash inflow and the present value of cash outflow over a period of time. NPV used in capital budgeting and investment planning to analyze the profitability of a projected investment or project. The formula for NPV, that is NPV is equal to Z1 divided by 1 plus my R plus Z2 divided by 1 plus my R की power 2 minus my X0, and where the X1 that is the cash flow in the time period 1, the Z2 that is the cash inflow in the time period 2, or the rate of discount, or we can call it the cost of capital, the X0 that is the cash outflow in time period 0, that is purchase price, or we can call the initial investment. Of net present value. On the example 1, we have given the initial cost, that is 6,000 US dollar, the life of the project, that is 6 years, the annual cash inflow, that is $2,200 per annum, then the salary value, that is equal to 0, required rate of return 20%. Then you can check here, we have given the cash inflow, that is even cash inflow from year 1 to year 6, that is $2,200 US dollar. Then now we try to find out the value of net present value. Then annual cash flow, that is 1 to 6 year, that is amount of cash flow, that is $2,200 US dollar. Then we can find out the PVA factor at 20%, at 6 year, that is 3.326. Now we can multiply the 2200 multiply by 3.326. We can find out the present value of cash inflow, that is 7317. Now we have given the initial investment, that is rupee 6,000 US dollar, and the PVA factor that equal the PVA factor that equal to 1. Now we can find out the present value of cash outflow, that is the 1 multiplied by the 6,000, that equal to 6,000. Now if we have to find out the value of NPV, that equal to the present value of cash inflow minus the present value of cash outflow. We have to deduct the value of present outflow with the present value of inflow, and that is the present value of cash inflow, that is 7317, the present value of cash outflow, that is the 6,000, and we can find out the net present value, that is equal to 1317 US dollar. We have taken the another example number 2. We have given a project required an initial investment of rupee 2,25,000 US dollar and is expected to generate following a net cash inflow. The year 1, the cash inflow, that is rupee 95,000 US dollar, in year 2, that is 80,000 US dollar, in year 3, that is 60,000 US dollar, in year 4, that is 55,000 US dollar. And we have to compute the net present value of the project if the minimum desired rate of return is 12%. Now we try to solve this. When we talk about the cash inflow, that is we have given the uneven cash inflow. Then we making the table, and we making the various column. In column number 1, we have taken the year 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the present value of rupee 1 at 12%, that the cash flow in the third column, and in the fourth column the present value of cash flow of each of the year. Then the present value of rupee 1 at 12% for year 1, that is 0.893, for year 2, that is 0.797, for year 3, that is 0.712, for year 4, that is 0.366. Then cash flow which we have given, that is 95,000 US dollar for year 1, 80,000 US dollar for year 2, 60,000 US dollar for year 3, and 55,000 US dollar for year 4. Now we can multiply the value which we have given in the column number 2 and the column number 3. With the help of that, we can find out the present value of cash inflow for year 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then the 0.893 multiplied by 95,000, that is equal to 84,835. That is the present value of cash inflow for year 1. Then the 0.797 multiplied by 80,000, then we can find out the present value of cash inflow for second year, that is 63,760. Then 0.712 multiplied by 60,000, that is equal to 42,720. That is the present value of cash inflow for third year. Then 0.636 multiplied by 55,000, that is equal to 34,890. That is the present value of cash inflow for year. And if we done the total of all the present value of the respected year, then we can find out the total present value of cash inflow, that is equal to 2,26,295. Then now we have to find out the present value of cash outflow, that is equal to 2,25,000. We deduct the 2,25,000 from 2,26,000 to 95, and we can find out the value of net present value, that is equal to $1,295. Now in this slide we discuss the accounting rate of return. Under this method, the asset expected accounting rate of return, that represented by ARR, is computed by dividing the expected incremental net operating income by the initial investment and then compared to management desired rate of return to accept or reject a proposal. If the asset's expected accounting rate of return is greater than or equal to the management desired rate of return, then proposal is acceptable, otherwise it is rejected. The accounting rate of return is computed using the following formula: the ARR equal to incremental accounting income divided by the initial investment. Example of accounting rate of return. Example 1. The fine clothing factory want to replace an old machine with new one. The old machine can be sold to a small factory for rupees 10,000 US. The new machine would increase annual revenue by 1,50,000 US and annual operating expense by 6,000 US. The new machine would cost 3,60,000 US. The estimated useful life of the machine is 12 years with zero salvage value. Here we have to require to compute the accounting rate of return of the machine using above information. Then now we try to find out the solution. For that we need the incremental net operating income. Then the new machine will increment the revenue by 1,50,000 US and also increase the operating cost, that is 60,000 US, and we have to find out the depreciation, incremental depreciation. We have given the initial cost of the new machine, that is the 3,60,000 US, and the expected useful life of machine, the 12. Then 3,60,000 divided by 12, then we can find out the incremental depreciation, that is equal to 30,000 US per annum. Then the total incremental expense, that is the operating expense plus the depreciation, that is equal to 90,000. That is equal to 90,000, and incremental revenue, that is equal to 1,50,000. Then we deduct 90,000 from 1,50,000, then we can find out the incremental net operating income, that is the 60,000 US. And we have given, now we need the initial investment. The initial investment that we required, the rupee 3,60,000 US for purchasing a new machine, while we can sold the old machine to a small factory for rupee 10,000 US. Then the initially we required the 3,60,000 minus my 10,000, then we required the 3,50,000 US. Then 60,000 US divided by the 3,50,000 US, and we can find out the accounting rate of return, that is equal to 17.14%. Now question for practice. The question number 1. The P&G company is considering to purchase an equipment costing rupee 45,000 US to be used in packaging department. It would reduce annual labor cost by 12,000 US. The useful life of the equipment would be 15 years with no salvage value. The operating expenses of the equipment other than depreciation would be 3,000 US per year. Calculate accounting rate of return. The second, the Delta company is planning to purchase a machine known as Machine X. Machine X would cost 25,000 US and would have a useful life of 10 years with zero salvage value. The expected annual cash inflow of the machine is 10,000 US. Calculate payback period. The third, the management of Fine Electronic company is considering to purchase an equipment to be attached with the main manufacturing machine. The equipment will cost rupees 6,000 US and will increase annual cash inflow by rupees 2,000. 200. The useful life of the equipment is 6 years. After 6 years, it will have no salvage value. The management wants 20% return on all investment. Calculate net present value.